Hello and welcome to another Dev Dive, where we're going to be taking a closer look at the Pitt update, which is set to arrive for Fallout 76 in just a handful of days on September 13th. It's going to bring our all-new expedition system to the game, which will allow you to leave Appalachia for the very first time because there are other settlements that need your help. Joining me today from the Fallout 76 development team are lead level designer Craig Bernardo and senior quest designer Chris Marshall. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. Why don't you tell everyone at home a little bit more about what you do for Fallout 76?
Hello, I'm Craig Bernardo, lead level designer for Fallout 76. I've been on this project since the beginning.
And I'm Chris Marshall. I'm a senior quest designer. Also, I've been on this project since Wild Appalachia right after release, and have worked on numerous quests and events, and now working on the Pit.
Awesome. Well, it's so great to have you guys. And for folks who didn't tune into our QuakeCon Dev Q&A panel or who haven't had the chance to try out Expeditions in our public test server, can you give us a quick overview of what they're in for?
Yes, Expeditions is a new gameplay mode for Fallout 76 where players get to travel outside of Appalachia. The first location we're going to is Pittsburgh, where players get to do new quests that we call missions. These are repeatable quests. Every mission features a semi-random objective, so every experience you play will be a little bit different than the last.
Awesome. And so how can players take part in Expeditions?
So players will start out in Appalachia doing a new set of daily quests that we call Refuge Dailies, and that's called that because the responders are back, they've been revived, and they've set up in the White Spring Resort, which we now call the White Spring Refuge. And so players will be doing quests for them, and that will build up the resource you need to start an expedition mission, which is the ultrasight batteries that power the vertibird.
And this isn't necessarily something you have to do on your own, although you could, right?
Yeah, you can absolutely play with your friends. You can do it solo if you want to, but you can team up. All you have to do is just join the team and then join the active mission from the paper map.
Why Pittsburgh specifically? What is bringing us there?
The Pit is a classic location from Fallout 3 DLC, and it's near enough to Appalachia for players to reach it by vertibird. It's nostalgic. It's a very unique atmosphere that we were keen on going back to. Our core Fallout fans love it. Internally, we loved it too, so that's why we wanted to choose the Pit.
So you also mentioned the Pit DLC from Fallout 3. Is there anything that we took as inspiration from there, or how did we incorporate that into our current design for the Pit?
Absolutely. While the Pit was set far in the future from 76, it's always been a haven for brutal raiders, represented in our game by the fanatics, who will go at any lengths to crush their opposition. We also brought back the Troggs, which were a unique creature to the DLC content, and the auto axe, which was a weapon that was premiered for Fallout 3 expansion.
Very cool. I know tons of people are excited to get their hands on that auto axe. And Chris, what else about the Pit makes it unique from what Appalachia already offers?
It's a very different environment from Appalachia. It's much more hostile and much more urban. The Pit was hit directly by the bombs during the war, and so we have all of these nuked out skyscrapers, and the industrial waste of the area mixed with the radiation has made it a much more hazardous environment, and of course given rise to the troglodyte degeneration contagion, which creates the Trogg enemies that players will be fighting.
That is quite a mouthful. I don't know how you said troglodyte degeneration contagion without stumbling over your words, but congratulations. Yes, definitely the bombs hitting Pittsburgh super hard compared to Appalachia, gives it a unique feel, but we also have two missions that we're bringing in with the expedition system. One's called Union Dues and the other one is From Ashes to Fire. How do they differ, and can you tell us a little bit about each one?
Yeah, Union Dues is more of a close homage to the original DLC. We tried to keep the environment and the themes very similar. And then for From Ashes to Fire, that was our opportunity to do something new and show players a new side of the Pit they've never seen before. So we have the trench, which really evokes the toxicity of the Pit. And then we also took inspiration from some of the churches of the Pittsburgh for the Sanctum location, and even some fake catacombs people had built in the 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that in Pittsburgh as tourist attractions. We used those as an inspiration for Beneath the Sanctum that players can delve into.
Was there any feedback that we took into consideration from previous content, like our past story quest lines, or maybe even events or daily ops?
Sure. I mean, obviously you're going to see a lot of comparison to daily ops, but one thing we definitely wanted to do for our missions is we wanted to remove the timed element from daily ops. You can spend as much time as you want in a mission. It will only progress when you progress the objectives. And we also wanted to make sure that it remained a multiplayer experience. So while it is more similar to a typical, one-off quest, teammates have a much bigger role in missions. Teammates can all help complete all of the objectives and progress the quest.
So given that we're a lot earlier in the timeline than Fallout 3, how does the Pit in Fallout 76 differ from the Pit in the DLC of the past?
Yeah, so obviously the Pit from Fallout 3 is far in the future, and some of those specific things you won't see a lot of any characters who are returning from the old DLC. But a lot of the vibe is kind of the same. We still have raiders vying for dominance. They haven't fully established their dominance yet, so while things are looking dire for the Union, players are able to help keep them afloat and keep hopes alive for civilization and the Pit.
So just to step back a little bit, earlier y'all mentioned the Responders and the White Spring. Why are we revisiting the Responders, and what did we bring to this faction with Expeditions?
The White Springs is a huge, really cool space, but there was hardly any reason for the player to return to it. It wasn't getting a lot of player traffic coming back and forth. So we basically made that the Responders base, and there's plenty of room for us to move forward and add more story content for Expeditions.
Okay, so now that the Responders have their, home base per se, do you think that we'll see even more Responders presence and influence in Appalachia, or is it more Expeditions related going forward?
It's more Expedition related moving forward, but yeah, we love the Responders, and I'm sure you'll see more of them in the future, and we're going to expand on that content with future Expeditions.
So you also talked a little bit about Refuge daily quests. What can you tell players about those, and will we be adding more of them too? Yeah,
the Refuge daily quests, they're short. They're meant to give the players the feel that they're actually helping people in Appalachia. We'll be adding more of these over time to expand the Expedition feature and building up a pool of quests.
Okay, so we've got the Raiders, and you mentioned Union. Can you tell us a little bit more about the factions and people that we'll be encountering?
Yeah, so the two main factions are the Union and the Fanatics. The Fanatics are a gang of raiders who've slowly consumed all of their other rivals and are on the verge of true dominance in the Pit, but they're opposed by the Union, who is our player-friendly faction, and they are themed around blue-collar workers and their descendants who worked the high-tech factories of the Pit making war equipment and machines. So they have a lot of expertise, and that's allowed them to hold out the longest against the Fanatics. And so players will meet a lot of Union NPCs. Skippy Rorich is one who's come to Appalachia to ask for help, and he's sort of the one that ropes players into helping them out. And then in Union Dues, players will meet Hex, and she's a scrappy freedom fighter type. She's a spy master who's used double agents to infiltrate the Fanatics at the risk of their own lives to kind of keep them one step ahead. And then in From Ashes to Fire, players will meet Danilo, who is a shadowy character who has the suspicious knowledge of the inside workings of the Fanatics, and he really helps drive home sort of the intensity of that faction and what people have to do to survive against them in the Pit.
And how about at the Refuge, the White Spring Refuge? Who else are we going to meet there?
There's Orlando, who's working for the mysterious White Spring management that some veteran players may have an idea of who their true master is. And then we also have some Responders characters, such as Rucker, who's working diligently to make sure that the Responders are able to help as many people as possible.
What we need more than anything is know-how. So I propose we trade.
And also Esme, who's a chef who's just trying her best to feed all of these refugees who've flooded into the White Spring and is the focus of one of our Refuge daily quests.
So we've talked a little bit about our allies that we'll be meeting and even the Fanatics, who are definitely enemies, but we're also introducing some brand new enemies, at least to Fallout 76, and those are the Troggs. I know we've talked a little bit about them already, but I'd love to know how the team went about recreating them for this game.
We wanted them to have an authentic throwback feel to Fallout 3 DLC, but we also recognized that they needed some gameplay improvements. Originally, the Troggs in Fallout 3, they were melee-only attackers. So we came up with two new variations, a Trogg fledgling that has an acid spit, so it covers our ranged attacks, and then a Trogg Superior, who's a bigger, beefier Trogg that has a blinding roar attack.
All right, so let's talk about something that I know a lot of players are eager to hear more about, which are rewards. We have an all-new set of power armor we're introducing, as well as the iconic auto axe, which you mentioned before. How is everyone going to get their hands on those items?
Initially, players will be able to unlock these through the Season 10 board. After Season 10, they'll be available for purchase with stamps in Giuseppe's shop. Chris, can you tell us a little bit more about Giuseppe's?
Yeah, Giuseppe's a new vendor that we have in the White Spring Refuge.
Giuseppe della Ripa, at your service.
Everything in his shop is sold with this unique Expeditions currency called stamps that you get by completing missions and completing bonus objectives within the missions. And really the whole point of Giuseppe is to add a little bit of RNG protection, and so it's a really nice feature. I know I really appreciate being able to target the one thing that RNG just has not given me over however many missions it's taken.
That should definitely be nice when the RNG gods don't look down on you with favor. So stepping back to Union Power Armor and the Auto Axe, what are some unique things about them?
The Union Power Armor set bonus grants massive poison resistance. It also provides a plus 75 carry weight, which makes it the first power armor outside of the Excavator to give an additional carrying capacity. The Auto Axe doesn't have high durability, but it deals massive damage as an auto melee weapon, and players can enhance the damage with a variety of elemental mods for the build out.
I'm also interested in what other kinds of rewards players will be able to get, not only from the Expedition's rare rewards pool, but from Giuseppe, the vendor you mentioned, from his inventory. Can you tell us a little bit more about those?
Yeah, so this is the first time we're including legendary modules in the reward pool, which is huge for repeatable content. Players will be able to get 1 to 2 of those per mission playthrough, and also once per week they'll be able to get one random unlearned plan from the pool that they don't have yet, which is really nice, kind of a more RNG protection type thing. There'll also be a bunch of Pitt-themed camp items, new outfits, mods for all the new gear. They'll all be available through Giuseppe for purchase with stamps.
And so how can players get more stamps, and how often can they get stamps?
Players can earn stamps through the missions and the season board. Every mission has several optional objectives, and completing those gives bonus stamps, as does kicking off new missions. Players can earn up to 10 stamps per mission.
Okay, so we'll be able to, earn everything we want to eventually. So does that mean that we are looking to add more to Giuseppe's inventory in the future, or is what he has and that's it?
Yeah, we're definitely going to expand Giuseppe's inventory over time as we add new expedition missions. And of course, as Craig already said, the Auto Axe and Union Power Armor will be added after Season 10.
So we've covered a lot that's coming with the Pitt update in September, but can players expect any more Pitt-themed content in the future?
We can't say too much on that right now, but we can say for sure that players should expect more Expeditions content in the future. We are definitely moving forward with that feature.
Well, that just about does it for this Dev Dive. Thank you so much for tuning in to learn about the Pitt and Expeditions. And Craig, Chris, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day to come chat with us about this new feature.
Thanks, Nate. This has been pretty exciting. We'd also like to thank all of our fans for playtesting Expeditions on our playtest server and leaving feedback on our Fallout 76 Discord channel. We are developers who listen to our fans, and we try to execute on that feedback within reason. So appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks again. It was great to be here answering questions. And as Craig said, we do listen. We know not every suggestion gets in the game, but we are out there hearing what you say, and we really appreciate all the playtest feedback. It's been very helpful.
All right, and as I mentioned before, the Pitt update for Fallout 76, along with the Expedition system, are coming to the game on September 13th. We'll see you then.